Hello boys and girls, this is Mr. Dolberry, and guess what? It's April, which means it's Jazz Appreciation Month. Every week I'm going to give you guys an amazing biography of an amazing jazz musician. This week we're going to start with the guy who started it all, Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong was born in New Orleans, Louisiana on August 4th, 1901. He grew up in the poor part of the city that was so rough that it was called the Battleground. As a boy, life was very rough for Louis. His father wasn't around, and his mom couldn't really take care of him. He lived with his grandmother and his uncle for most of his life. When Louis was a young boy, he had a lot of nicknames that referred to his wide mouth. One of them was Satchel Mouth, but when he visited England, the nickname was shortened to Satchmo, and the name stuck with him. One of Louis's favorite things to do as a young boy was to watch the local jazz musicians. He liked the horn and began to play the cornet. When Louis was around 12 years old, he got in trouble for shooting a gun into the air on New Year's Eve. He was sent to live in the New Orleans home. Louis enjoyed the band at the home and learned how to read music. In 1922, Louis Armstrong moved to Chicago to join the Joe Oliver's Creole Jazz Band. It was the start of the Roaring Twenties, and Chicago was becoming the home of jazz. Eventually, Armstrong moved to New York City, where he played in the Fletcher Henderson Orchestra. It was during this time where he switched from playing the cornet to playing the trumpet. In the 1940s, Armstrong formed a small jazz band called the All-Stars. Many famous jazz musicians played as members of this band, and he toured with the All-Stars for the rest of his career. Louis Armstrong recorded a number of hit songs throughout his career. Some of the most famous songs include What a Wonderful World, Ain't Misbehavin', West End Blues, just to name a few. Louis Armstrong died on July 6, 1971 of a heart attack at the age of 69. He is remembered as one of the greatest jazz musicians in American history. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame Rock and Roll in 1990. Well, that's all we have to say today about Louis Armstrong. Tune in next week for our next great jazz musician.